Hello, my name is Thibault Arguillière. I'm Senior Solution Architect at Nuxeo and working from the New York office for Nuxeo. So today I'm going to talk about what we call the Nuxeo software factory and how we continuously build Nuxeo, which will highlight the main principle, the main processes behind our quality assurance and continuous integration workflows. I want to insist on the fact that this is an overview, a summary. There are details that can change. I'm just describing the main principles. So the main principles are the following. A developer works on a plugin, adds new feature, optimize code, fixes a bug, works on a plugin. And just a small parenthesis here to remind you that Nuxeo is built on a component model architecture, which means that in Nuxeo, everything is a plugin. So as a core developer of Nuxeo, you don't work on a single monolithic source base. You work on a specific plugin. So we have plugins for everything. So plugin to handle the repository, plugin to handle the blob storage on the file system, another plugin to handle the blob storage on Amazon S3, another plugin to perform the conversions, another one to handle the thumbnails, etc., etc. So basically, when you are a developer at Nuxeo, you work on a single plugin. And you work on a branch of the plugin. So we have the master branch of the source code, and the master branch is the one that is used to build the final product. Long-time support version, hot fixes, fast track, snapshots, etc. But as a developer, nobody works directly in the master branch. You work on your customers. You create a new branch for a feature or for a bug fix, and you work on it. So maybe you have used Nuxeo CLI to scaffold new feature, for example, and in all cases, you use also your favorite development environment. So you are done with your work, you are happy with what you've done, and I'm happy you're happy with what you've done. So you push on the public GitHub repository of Nuxeo. So once it's on GitHub, something very interesting happened. Until now, everything was somehow manual. You're a developer, you work on the code, you write code, you run your test locally, you push on GitHub. But now it's automatic. It means as soon as your changes have been pushed on GitHub, Jenkins, in our servers, Jenkins is notified. It's automatic. Jenkins is notified, so Jenkins pulls the changes in your branch, changes of this plugin in your branch, and asks Maven to build the plugin. So Maven builds the plugin and unit tests it. So to summarize, as a developer, I work on a plugin. When I'm done, I push on GitHub, and automatically Jenkins pulls the change, asks Maven to build a unit test. Then, when it's done and everything is okay, if there is an error, we start all this process again. I start as a developer on this process again, but if everything is okay, I can do, or it can be automated too, a pull request. A pull request is when you ask your changes to be merged into the master branch. So you ask your changes to go into the final product. So again, this is a summary. It can be, it just highlights the main principles. It can be more or less complex depending on the type of plugin you're working on. I'll be talking about that in a few minutes. So you send your pull request, and this means, hey, I want my changes to be merged in the master branch. And this is done after at least two developers, two of your colleagues review your code. And maybe there are some change. Maybe there are some minor change, maybe there are some big change, and maybe you fight with them because you are not happy with what they have to do. So you can find sometimes in Nuxeo In an afternoon, you can find 3 developers fighting and throwing chairs at each other, and then after that, having a good beer on the evening to clear every misunderstanding. So, sorry for this. Yeah, so the pull request, let's say, has been accepted, and your code can be merged to the master branch. And then the things are the same as when you work on your own branch. I mean, GitHub notifies Jenkins that the master branch of this plugin has been modified. So Jenkins pulls the change of the master branch of the plugin, asks Maven to build it. And then we can go, the process, depending on the plugin, will continue, which means at some point, we will automatically, or this is automated, of course, package and validate the plugin, which means sometimes way more than just unit testing. It must be functional, performance, matrix testing, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And so we continuously build Nuxeo like that, and build your plugin in the master branch. And once all these steps have been validated, then it's time to deploy. We have 2 main deployments, automated developments. One is our deployment job, which we deploy in our own test server. So we have some servers that are deployed for test or for performance and so on. They're automatically deployed in this server. We also deploy this plugin in the Nuxeo marketplace. And this is where our customers can also automatically get a new version of the plugin integrated in their own software factory. Something else that happened in the middle of this is that we also trigger Sonar Source analysis of the code to give us the coverage, to give us an automated way to detect risk of security issues in the code, like I don't know, like calling a class name by its name, by a string, etc., etc. So we also involve Sonar Source, but all this is automated. We don't have people clicking a button to push in Sonar Source. It's all automated. So this is the main principle, but we'll see that sometimes maybe you're modifying a plugin that is really a core plugin that will have a lot of consequences on all the software. I mean, if you modify just Nuxeo Vision, for example, to add a new feature with Google Vision or Amazon Recognition, you are not basically modifying the storage, the repository, and so on. So a single unit test is enough. But sometimes you are modifying, I don't know, maybe you are changing the version of the JSON parser we are using in Nuxeo, and this will have a lot of impact everywhere. So we need to build the full platform in this time. And this implies a lot of tools, and here we have just some of them. We have some other tools and frameworks, unit testing involved in the process, and this is what we call test and push. It can be automated too, but we like it to be manual because it means when you work on a plugin that requires to rebuild the full platform, it takes time, and it takes time. It can take 1-2 hours to rebuild the full platform. So it's a manual process, and we are changing all this to build another architecture where it will be automated and way faster. But as of today, March 2018, it's the way it goes. And then, because you are modifying a core plugin, it's only at the end of all this that the pull request will be done. So this was really an overview. Modify a plugin, push on GitHub, and all the rest is automatic. Jenkins pulls, Maven builds, unit test, deploy. If you want more details, you can just go to the documentation because we describe everything. So if you go to Nuxeo QA CI, you will find the documentation that describes everything, basically that describes the process I just quickly summarize. You can also go to QAnuxeo.com and see this wonderful, super modern UI of Jenkins buildings and see what is going on currently and what plugins are failing building and so on. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was a summary, a little visit, may I say, of the QA and CI processes of Nuxeo, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.